Everybody who's joining in, please type in your name in the chat and tell us where you're calling in. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Friday's webinar. Thanks for joining. Many of you might already know me, but some of you who do not know me, my name is Pinky Loomba, and my company name is Loomba Investment Group. I come from a very strong IT and academia background. I have multiple years of corporate America experience, and I'm still a professor at California State University. My husband and my real estate investing journey started in late 90s when we bought our second home and rented the first. At that point, we got the taste of passive investing and we started investing in single family homes and duplexes. Somewhat passively too. I actually did some commercial retail brokerage as well with my W-2, which led us to invest in retail businesses. Fast forward, we learned about commercial investing and started investing in multifamily asset class. At that time, I started thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I can leverage my 401k or my IRA funds to invest in real estate and even multiply my tax-free money? One of my good friends introduced me to Damien. Damien has a unique tool. It's a fusion of financial literacy and a little known strategy called EQRP that allows investors to control their retirement money and get off the Wall Street roller coaster. Damien helped me with setting up my EQRP with complete checkbook control. I loved it and I was able to invest my money freely. No taxes, no penalties. Yay. Today we have David Morris with us. David Morris is with EQRP and he will share the EQRP logistics with us. A little bit background for David. David is a national director of the EQRP company and a managing partner and CEO of Vitruvian Ventures. Within the EQRP company, he oversees sales, client services, new product initiatives, and the growth of the team. His primary focus is to grow and develop a team that delivers a surprisingly excellent client experience daily. Their motto is, we are a customer service company that happens to be in the retirement space. Oh, I love that. As a leader of Vitruvian Ventures, David strives to deliver life-changing investment opportunities that provide outsized returns with a reduced risk profile through fundamental research, team selection, and a fund design. David and team are creating paradigm-shifting investment opportunities that can be used as a tool for the community to reach financial freedom. Let's welcome David. Little disclaimer here, webinar is strictly for educational purposes only. So this strategy might help you, might not help you. So we're just trying to share the knowledge in this space. About me, I already mentioned my humble beginning, and here I am today, the founder of Loomba Investment Group. How you can reach me, you can go to my website, www.loombainvest.com. You can download my free ebook, 7 Reasons Why Real Estate Syndications Build Strong Long-Term Wealth. And my contact information is right here. You can reach out to me via Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. So I think this is enough for me, and I'm gonna hand it over to David.
Thank you so much, Minky. I really appreciate that introduction. If you would stop share, then I could share my screen.
I will definitely. Let me see how it would stop. There you go. Okay.
Okay, great.
See if you have the screen.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here. Like she said, my name is David Morris. I'm the National Director of the EQRP company. And we're excited to discuss what the EQRP is tonight with you guys and how it may or may not benefit you. But I think first and foremost, it's important to understand who I am and why I do what I do. And so here's my family. That's my beautiful wife, Hannah. She is a rock star leader. She's worked with the Lululemon company for Lululemon Athletica for 10 years. She manages about 60 people at the store here in Birmingham. And just as an incredible leader, has really helped me grow as a leader in business. And it's just an absolute joy to do life with her and raise our 3 children. We've got Mary Ashlyn, my oldest daughter. She's 13 in 7th grade. She loves sports. She's a volleyball player. She runs track, and she is a pole vaulter as well, which is kind of cool. She's also an entrepreneur, which is really, really cool for me, because being an entrepreneur myself, I really want to instill those values in my children. And back last March, when the shutdown happened, she just started to work. She started babysitting and dog walking, and she's made about $5,000 or $6,000. I've got her tithing. I've got her investing. She's bought some silver from me. Really starting to learn how things work. And so it's just really exciting, really proud of her. And then we've got my boy Griffin down there. He is a stud. He was just recently drafted by the New York Yankees and the Braves. We're in the first year of T-ball, and it's already very clear to them that he belongs on their team. No, but seriously, he is a great kid. He's very strong. He's very athletic, and he's very smart. Really excited for him. And then there's Pate, our youngest. She's a mess. You can tell by the look on her face that she is a unique little girl. She's the child that helped us realize that it wasn't us that were great parents. It was that we had great children. All of the rules that we learned worked with our other children absolutely do not work with Pate. She'll do everything from lie on the floor and cry for an hour and a half to sit in your lap and really just make your heart sing. But she really is a unique child, and I pray that she continues to carry that uniqueness out for the rest of her life. But that's who I am, and that's my family, and they are the reason behind the why for what I do. And we do have a different why here at the EQRP company. And the reason we have a different why is because there's a lot of other companies out there that do this game, that do the 401ks, that do the IRAs. But we believe that those other companies put you into financial bondage. And our goal is to break 1 million shackles of financial bondage shackles. The IRAs and the 401ks of the world today, they keep all the control in their hands. They charge you fees. You don't even really know the fees that you're getting charged. And so our goal as a company is to really educate you on what you can do with your 401k or IRA money, how that can be invested, put that control in your hands, and educate you on how you can do that safely. And then also get in some good deals and hopefully earn a heck of a lot more money than you're earning in your mutual fund that you have today. So when I was a kid, I was afraid of the boogeyman. Was afraid to get out of my bed to go to the bathroom, and I would sprint across the room and dive into the bed because I was afraid he was going to reach out and grab me. But as I've gotten older, this guy is kind of the modern day boogeyman, the old IRS. And what's really scary is that if you don't do anything to prevent it, this is how much of your income that the IRS is going to take from you. If you think about all the taxes that you pay, federal income tax, state income tax, sales tax, property tax, everything that you pay, they're going to take 70% of every dollar you earn unless you do something about it. And I would prefer this number a lot more. I don't know about you guys, but something tells me if you're on this webinar, you probably would like that number as well. And so if you want to change things, you have to start thinking differently, kind of like Apple did. Apple did things a lot more different than everybody else. And when you start thinking differently, you invest differently. And when you start to invest differently and you understand the parameters around what you can and can't do, it really is going to open up a whole new world for you. And the way that you're going to do that with your retirement money anyway is through the EQRP. The E, it stands for Enhanced Qualified Retirement Plan. That is our product. It's how we package it, how we support it. And it truly is the Ferrari of 401ks. And it represents about $600 million of investable assets. So this isn't new. You aren't the first person to sign up for an EQRP. We've been around for 10 years. And it represents at least $600 million worth of assets. And a question that we get a lot of times is, why have I not heard about this? It's actually a valid question. And to tell you the truth, the reason you haven't heard about it is because Leonardo DiCaprio does not want you to find out about this. Why? Well, because Leonardo DiCaprio is the Wolf of Wall Street, and he's handsome as well. But he wants to control your money. He wants to control it. He doesn't want you to know what you can do with it, and he wants to charge you a bunch of fees. Well, we want to take that money away from him. We want to take it off of Wall Street, put it back on Main Street. So what is the EQRP? The EQRP is a private retirement checkbook. You can fund investments very quickly. You have liability protection. You do not pay UBIT tax, and you can have this for just yourself, or if you are a business owner and you have employees, you can have this for your business as well. What can you invest in? Well, pretty much anything that's a reasonable investment. There's qualifications around it, but you can invest in real estate. You can have global options, and we have people that invest all over the world. Gold and silver, and you can hold the physical element at home, so you don't have to have that vaulted somewhere else. You know, one of the biggest benefits of owning gold and silver is that you can actually hold it in your hand. If the world actually does fall apart, then you have these assets. You can also invest in Bitcoin and any other types of crypto through the plan, which is super unique. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through how this compares to self-directed IRA. Most people have heard of a self-directed IRA that are in the real estate investment world. And it's long been touted as a great investment vehicle for real estate investing. Well, that's just simply not true. One of the most powerful things that you can do in real estate is utilize leverage in order to enhance the return. Well, if you do that inside of a self-directed IRA, that is not a good thing, and we'll get into that in just a minute. So what we're going to do here for a few minutes is just kind of compare the two. What are the options that you have that you can and can't do, and then we're going to go through a couple of real life scenarios. And the scenarios that we go through actually are scenarios that some of our clients went through. So self-directed IRA, you have a custodian. It's very slow to get transactions done for the most part. I mean, generally about 2 weeks to get a check cut. They're going to charge you a fee to do that. And I've heard stories of it taking up to 6 weeks. If there is debt on an investment, so if you invest in a syndication, or if you purchase a rental home and you want to use leverage in order to purchase that, so your money goes further, you'll get taxed. It's called UBIT, unrelated business income tax. And you can only contribute $6,000 a year to a self-directed IRA. With the EQRP, it's fast. You are the trustee, so you have all the control. You write the checks, you receive the funds, you make the investment decisions. That is one of the biggest beauties of this, is that all the control is in your hands. And then you just lean on us to make sure that what you're doing fits within the bounds of a qualified investment. You can use as much debt as you want. If you're in any syndication that's using debt, you can leverage as much as you can get leverage for, and you're not going to be taxed for that. And then with a 401k, you can contribute up to $58,000 a year. If you're over the age of 50, you get a catch-up contribution of $6,500. So that's actually $64,500 if you're over 50. And so this is a deal that one of our good friends did. He syndicated it, and these are pretty much really close to the real numbers. They're rounded to whole numbers, but it's a $50 million purchase. They invested $10 million in cash, so that he raised $10 million. He got a $40 million in debt. 5 years later, it sold for $70 million. It's a great investment, but it also mirrors a lot of the investments that are available today, whether it's a $1 million investment or a $100 million investment. The numbers work out either way. It was a great investment. So if you had invested $100,000 from your IRA in that, you doubled your money. So you made another $100,000. With UBIT, and it was an 80% leveraged deal, so 20% down, 80% debt. 80% of that is considered UDFI, 80% of the profit. It's unrelated debt financed income, and that's $80,000 in this scenario. And so UBIT, the tax that you'd pay would be anywhere from $20,000 to $29,000 on that investment if you did that with your IRA. I'll let that sink in for just a second. The reason you use an IRA is to not pay taxes, but in this case, you're paying almost up to $30,000. So UBIT and UDFI. UDFI, like I explained, is unrelated debt finance income, and UBIT is charged to that. And it's up to a 37% tax rate inside of an IRA. IRAs are going to pay up to $29,000 in tax, and EQRP investors pay zero, because UDFI, unrelated debt financed income, does not exist in a 401k. It's just not in the tax code, so you don't have to pay. It is truly exempt from UDFI. And so since it's exempt from UDFI, you can invest in a leverage deal and you don't have to worry about paying that tax. Here's another one. This was a customer that came to us. They had bought a house and rehabbed it for $200,000. They're about to sell it for $300,000. They're going to make $100,000, and the net profit was $68,000. So they went to their CPA, and their CPA told them, well, you're going to have to pay UBIT, and it's going to cost you $20,000. Well, what they did is they just signed up with us, did an in-kind transfer of that asset over into the EQRP, and they pay zero tax. They get to keep all $68,000. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, you save $20,000, you're able to go reinvest the entire $68,000. And so if you're already invested in a deal, we run into this all the time. What do I do? I've already invested. Am I stuck? Can I get out? Am I going to have to pay taxes? Well, actually, no. It's called an in-kind transfer that I just mentioned. And you're able to transfer the asset. All we do is we move it from the self-directed IRA over to the EQRP, and you don't pay any UBIT. You could do this literally, complete that transaction a week before the closing of the property, and you don't have to pay any tax on that. So who's qualified? Well, syndicators are qualified, self-employed people. So if you have any online businesses, or if you're a 1099 employee, contractor, if you just do some stuff on the side, if you drive Uber, whatever you do, as long as you earn self-employment income, you qualify. If you're a passive investor, you qualify. If you have a W-2 job, that's okay. And you can also have up to 50 employees and still qualify to have an EQRP. So now we're going to look through some of the benefits. Dr. Kim set up an EQRP in 2020. So for 2020, last month. This is a real thing. He had made about $200,000 last year, and he was able, by setting this up, he was able to put $57,000 into his EQRP, reduced his income from $200,000 to $143,000. Well, what that did is it got him below the QBI, the qualified business income limit. And so he was able to take an additional 20% reduction of his income, which netted him down to $115,000 in income. And that what that did by putting the $57,000 in, it took him from a taxable income of $200,000 all the way down to $115,000 in taxable income. And that saved him $20,000 in taxes. So pretty big deal. So that's just one of the powerful ways that you can utilize a plan like this. And the thing to note is that was set up in 2020, in 2021, and they were able to contribute for 2020. So how do you fund it? Well, you can roll over. You can roll over from an IRA or any 401k. If you have a TSP, a 403B, or a 457, and you can do an unlimited number of these rollovers. A direct rollover, you can do as many as you want to in a given year. The only two things that you cannot roll over are a Roth IRA. Don't confuse that with a Roth 401k or any of the other types of accounts, because any of the other ones are Roth, you can roll them over. It's just a Roth IRA and an inherited IRA that you cannot roll over. You can also make contributions. Like I said earlier, you can contribute up to $58,000 a year. You can make that as a tax deferred contribution, or that can be Roth, or both. So we're able to have both options within the plan. And there's no income limit for Roth. One of the negatives to an IRA is that if you make too much money, you no longer qualify to contribute to a Roth IRA. Well, you don't have that problem with a 401k. In 2020, the Secure Act was active. And so with the EQRP, what it did is it brought part-time employees into the into the game when it comes to whether or not a business has to have a full-blown safe harbor plan, which is a specific type of 401k. So if you are a business owner and previous to the Secure Act, you only had part-time employees, you would not have to have a 401k plan for them if you had one for yourself. But now with the Secure Act, if you have part-time employees, you do now have to have a 401k for them. So with the EQRP, we can set that up for you if you have employees. And with a solo 401k, that's one of our other competitors, or I guess competitive type products. You cannot have employees. It is only for one person, and you cannot have any part-time employees or full-time. With EQRP, you can. So this brings up and kind of leads into our new product, which is an absolute game changer. This is kind of my baby, the Safe Harbor Plan. Vinky notated that I'm in charge of rolling out new products. Well, we're launching the Safe Harbor Plan. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Safe Harbor laws protect employees from their business owners taking a retirement benefit out of the business without offering the same type of benefit to the employees. And so a safe harbor plan, there's two types of safe harbor plans that you can have, but a safe harbor plan is a way that you can comply with all those, and you don't have to do testing. Testing is something that can be really expensive and cumbersome. And so the EQRP safe harbor plan is the only decentralized 401k. It gives the business owners and the employees the ability to self-manage their funds, to invest in real estate or crypto or be a lender or gold and silver, whatever they want to do. While it allows the employees to invest that way, it does not make them do that. Most of the time, and what we have seen and what we believe we'll continue to see, is that employees of businesses probably don't want that control when the business owners do. And so what the employees will have most likely is just a normal Fidelity looking 401k. And so it's kind of two different types of accounts. There's one that's in Fidelity, just like a normal 401k with mutual fund options, ETF, stocks, et cetera. And then the other is the business owners who are able to go out and invest in whatever they want to. And so it's a real game changer. And any businesses from 5 to 50 employees qualify. Like I said, it gives 100% self-direction for anybody within the company. It's a flat fee. There's a TPA, a third-party administrator included. There's no asset management fees. So we're not charging fees based on how many assets you have in the plan. And this saves upwards of $30,000 a year for the right size plans. So party time, freedom for all. We're gonna pop some corks and have a good time, because we just gave everybody the opportunity who owns a business to now be able to partake in something like this and actually put their 401k money to work. I meant to take this slide out, I apologize. And so another thing that is really, really cool about the EQRP is that we're able to convert money to Roth. So the difference between traditional tax deferred and Roth is that tax deferred money goes in pre-tax, and you don't pay any tax while it grows. But then when you pull the money out at retirement, you have to pay income tax based on how much you pull out in any given year. Would be at your current tax rate at that time. Roth, you've already paid tax on, it's in the plan, it grows as much as it can grow, and then you never pay tax on it again. You don't pay tax on the gains. And so it's a huge benefit to our employees that have opportunities to convert their money to Roth, because if you're investing in real estate deals and doubling your money every 3 to 5 years, I mean, you could just imagine how much money you're going to save in taxes if you never have to pay tax on the gains. And so a lot of people in this industry want to achieve what's called a real estate professional. And what's significant about that is you can utilize a passive loss depreciation to offset an active income. And so when you convert money from traditional to Roth, that conversion is active income, basically. So if you converted $100,000 from traditional to Roth, you just added $100,000 to your taxable income. And so in this case study, we had Susie, who's a dentist, and her husband, Sam, who's a real estate professional, converted $300,000 of their EQRP money to Roth. So what they did, since he's a real estate professional, they bought a $1 million building. they had $300,000 of bonus depreciation today. And so what that did, since that's a passive loss, he's a real estate professional, it wiped out the entire $300,000 of additional income that was realized due to the Roth conversion, and it was completely tax-free. So when it's Roth, they're able to pull the Roth money out at any time. So $300,000, you can pull that out today. Go do whatever you want to with it. You do that completely tax and penalty free. So that's a pretty cool option with the EQRP. And the other thing that's really, really fun is just to get into the strategies. So if you have a business and if you have children, you can pay your children up to $12,000 a year tax-free, and you can contribute that to an EQRP, a Roth EQRP completely tax-free. So it's a way to reduce your taxable income, pass that money on to your children completely tax-free, put it into a Roth, and allow them to grow that for the rest of their life completely tax-free. So it's an excellent way to pass on wealth to your children. And so today, you know, the number one concern for millennials and boomers is retirement, and for both categories. And so really and truly, this is a way for you guys to utilize your retirement money to go out, get a real return by having control, getting in real investments that are going to give you a better return and secure your future. And even if you're into your 50s or 60s, it's still not too late. You can still put that money to work and double your money in 3 to 5 years and then do it again. So it just depends on what you're getting involved in. Here's our team. Like we said earlier, we are a customer service focused business. From the start to finish, we're going to make sure that you have an exceptional customer service experience, one that you did not expect that you were going to have. Everything is going to be taken care of for you, and it's going to be a seamless and easy process to get your plan set up, get your money rolled over, get investing, and creating that financial freedom that you're looking for. So if you're interested, go ahead and text to 72,000 the letters EQRP. And what will happen is we'll send you the special report. That special report is going to give you an overview of what the EQRP is, what you can do with it, all the rules that surround it. And if you want to learn more, Damien wrote a book called the EQRP, or the QRP book, and we'll ship that to you for free. So it'll prompt you to do that if you would like, and just put in your information, and we'll send it out to you to come about 2 or 3 days after you order it.
Thanks, David.
And that is all that I have.
Thanks, David. We do have some questions for you. And
Yeah.
by the way, I put a link on the Facebook. We have Facebook Live going on at this time. I put a link up there too, and you can go click on that link and you can order your EQRP book as well that way. And one question is coming from Facebook. It says, I came in late. What is EQRP? Can you explain that one more time, please?
Yeah, the EQRP, it is a 401k plan. The EQRP stands for Enhanced Qualified Retirement Plan. And it's a 401k plan that gives you control, checkbook control, truly operates just like a checking account where you're able to write checks, wire funds. You have an app where you can see the transactions. If you have multiple accounts, you can transfer money back and forth. So it truly operates just like a checking account. And our team is here to help you understand what you can and can't do with that money.
Great. And the other question is from Rick Chatterjee. Is there a limit or minimum that makes sense to move from traditional Roth to EQRP?
I'm sorry, what was the question? From traditional Roth, is that?
Yeah, it says, is there a limit or a minimum limit that makes sense to move from traditional Roth to EQRP?
Well, so it really depends on what you're going to do with the money. So, I mean, we have people that start with $0, but they have a business that has substantial income and they're going to be able to contribute to the plan. We have some people that start with $10,000 because they have a lucrative opportunity they want to get involved with. And then we have people that move millions of dollars. I mean, it really is very situationally specific. You know, there is a decent sized fee up front to get everything started. It's just under $4,000 to start. It's $495 a year. So if you're going to start with $10,000, you want to know that there's a good return coming, or there's more contributions coming in the future. And so with that, I mean, it really, I would say the average is probably around $50,000, maybe more than that, but it, you know, it really doesn't matter. It's just completely situationally specific.
Great. So another question I have is from Justin Smith. He's asking about your example of Dr. Kim. Was Dr. Kim investing pre-tax dollars?
Yeah, definitely pre-tax, because that's how you save the money.
Okay, that's good. The next question is, so you can contribute dollars to an EQRP from a Roth IRA, but you cannot roll over from a Roth IRA to an EQRP, or can you?
So you cannot roll a Roth IRA over to an EQRP. You can have a Roth account within the EQRP, but it is a Roth 401k. It is not a Roth IRA. A lot of times Roth gets lumped in with always being an IRA, but it's not. You can have Roth money inside of a 401k.
So I have another question that came in is, can you have an in-service rollover to EQRP?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's in-service rollover ability within the 401k plan that you have now, you absolutely can roll that over into the EQRP.
So in that case, if I recall in Dr. Kim's example, in that case study, so she was contributing to her EQRP like 57,000. That's per year is permitted, right? So if you have in-service rollover at the same time, can you put money in your EQRP? Because you're in service, you're contributing towards your 401k, and here you have your EQRP set up. So can you put more money and you're not paying pre-tax money in your EQRP?
Yeah, so if you have qualifying income, so that's one of the things that matters. If you have qualifying income, then yes, and you have remaining contribution limit available. So you have $58,000 a year that you can contribute. That could be to one plan, that could be to 10 plans, it doesn't matter. But as long as you have both of those things, you can absolutely contribute more to your EQRP.
Great, good to know that. The next question is from Angel Williams. I'm rolling my TRS, Texas Teacher Retirement, into something self-directed. Would I be able to roll this into EQRP?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you. Another question is from some anonymous attendee. Can you show the slide who is eligible is one more time? Also, if I am in my employer's 401k, can I move to, yes. So his question is, can he roll over to EQRP when he's in service? So the answer is yes.
Potentially. And really and truly, the way you qualify is to have self-employment income of some kind. So whether that's 1099 consulting income, whether you own your own business as a sole proprietor, or whether you have your own business with employees, you have to be considered kind of quote unquote a business owner. Having a W-2 job doesn't disqualify you, because you could have a W-2 job but do some consulting on the side, or drive an Uber, or have an online business, whatever, you would qualify to have the plan. So if you have specific questions about that, I would encourage you just to reach out. We could talk through your specific situation. But as far as contributing from a 401k at work, the in-service rollover is a potential. However, it's not a very good potential, because most 401k plans don't allow for that. It's called an in-service distribution. And I would say less than 30% of the plans out there today allow for a in-service distribution. So you would just have to check with your 401k provider to see if that's an option or not.
Right. So Angel has a follow-up question. She asks you that she's trying to roll over her TRS into some self-directed. And then she wants to know how can she do that?
She just needs to reach out to us. We could talk through the steps to do that. Okay. My email is david@eqrp.co.
So Daryl wants to know, what is the in-service rollover?
In-service rollover, that's when you still work for the company. So if you still work there, you have a 401k, you're still contributing, you're still getting a match if it's offered. You're not leaving the company, you're not shutting down your plan there, but you want to roll over some of the money while you still work there. That's an in-service.
So, but there's a caveat, right? You cannot roll over everything. There is like some percentage. Can you roll over? Who decides that?
The IRS mandates that the only thing you could roll out is what the employer has contributed to the plan.
Only employees. So let's say if you're contributing 10% to your 401k, your employer is matching up to 6%. So only the 6% you can roll over to the EQRP.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So I have another question from Ravi. He says, how can I move my business income to EQRP if I do not have a retirement plan for my company? Can I invest in EQRP as an owner?
Yes, we would set up a 401. We would set up an EQRP for your business. And we can, again, I would need to ask more questions about the business specifically. So that's probably better to have a one-on-one conversation about that.
Great. So I wanted to ask you one question for my satisfaction. Why there is no UBIT for STIRA?
Well, so there's no UBIT. And the double negative bothers me. Sorry about that. You can be charged UBIT if what you're doing is considered business activity. The UBIT that we are worried about is the UBIT that most of the people in our areas of investing get taxed UBIT, and that is when there is debt, UDFI. It creates UDFI, which is that unrelated debt financed income. So it's the debt piece that defines the income, and UDFI only exists in an IRA. And so the UDFI exclusion in the 401k is why you are not charged UBIT within the 401k.
Another question I have from Janine Blunt is from Facebook. What are the monthly fees for check writing?
Oh, there's no monthly fee.
So you can
It's
write
a free
as
checking.
checks?
Yeah, it's a checking account.
So how about, do you do the wires too, right? So is there any cost for the wire transfer between accounts from your bank where your EQRP is to the investment account, wherever you're trying to invest your money?
Yeah, if you wire money, it's just like a normal bank wire fee. So $15, I believe, is what it is.
Another question I have for you is, can you utilize your K1 savings, the K1 that you get from your investments in your EQRP, or how do you use that? I mean, you're going to get a K1 on your investment. Is there any use for it since it's tax-free already?
Yeah, the document, the K1? Or the income?
The depreciation schedule?
Yeah, you can't utilize the depreciation. So what depreciation does is it offsets income, or income tax rather. And within a retirement plan, there is no income tax. UBIT is different. There is no income tax. And so since there's no income tax, there's just nothing to write off, and it can't pass through from the plan to you.
So is there any way can we use that K1 for our regular active income outside of EQRP?
Nope.
No.
Because the plan is a legal entity, just like a business is, and it is the one that owns the asset itself. And so that depreciation cannot be passed through out of the plan. So there's tax benefits, but there's also things that aren't.
So we're limited to that. Okay.
Yep.
So another question I have from Matthew Moran. Can you use EQRP money to fund a self-owned LLC?
No.
No?
No. You cannot fund your own business. Okay. But I mean, there's some nuance to that question. So that's one of those things where we would definitely dig in and talk about what you want to do there.
If you have any more questions, please put it in the Q&A. And I do not see any more questions on the Facebook Live. Jim, do you have any questions for David?
Hey, Jim, you're on mute.
I did want to point out that David used a 30%, roughly 30% of the qualified plans out there does have in-service rollover. So that's honestly a pretty big number and really surprised me because I've never seen it. So it's definitely worth all of you checking tomorrow or Monday or as soon as you can to find out if it's offered at your company, because you don't want to be tied into your company 401k and all the limitations. The only money, in my humble opinion, that you should be contributing to a company 401k is whatever they match. Otherwise, you need the flexibility and the ability to invest in other assets that you would get from being in the EQRP. Also had another question about the new CARES Act that you had gone over, David. So plans that were set up a year ago or 2 years ago, are they automatically converted to this new plan, or do you guys have to set up something new? How are you handling that internally with the existing customers?
For the safe harbor plan for businesses?
Yep.
They would have to reach out. We haven't really fully launched it to everyone yet. We are taking on clients currently, but we have not, as you guys know, we haven't released it in email form to everybody in our network yet. Once that happens, I feel that we'll probably have a lot of people that want to convert. We have a ton of business owners in our ecosystem that are already customers who are using a different business, but they're not able to contribute currently to that EQRP because it's not tied to that business. So I would think that we'll have a lot of that happen. And it's just a conversion process, a little extra fee to do that.
Another question for you is, David, can you show the eligibility slide again, please?
The who's qualified slide? That's what you guys want?
Yeah, the eligibility.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you had up there syndicators, LPs. So
yeah,
pretty much anyone that makes any income whatsoever that is not from your W-2
Exactly.
should potentially qualify you. And if you don't understand how to do that or how it works, then I would encourage you to reach out to David and put your information in that text box.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and if you have any inkling whether you do or don't qualify, we'd love to chat with you and just talk through it. And there's also a lot of ways that we can qualify you if you don't have that. So don't let I only have a W-2 job be the kind of the end of the conversation. We'd love to chat with you further and talk the details of that.
So can we dig just a little bit deeper into that, David? So even if they don't have a company, not earning any side hustle money right now, but they intend to, are they still eligible to open up an EQRP even if they haven't earned any money yet?
Absolutely. So I mean, if you have a business, it's actually the business that qualifies you, not the income. So if you have a legitimate business, you have legitimate business activity, you could qualify to have this plan. And so that's why I say let's talk through it. And then a lot of times, people who are real estate investors already own real estate. And if you own real estate alone, it doesn't qualify you to have the plan because it's considered investment income. However, if you own that real estate within an LLC, you could pay yourself as a asset manager, even if you're not managing the property, you're managing the quote unquote asset. And so you could pay yourself a fee just like you pay a financial advisor to manage your money. And so that could be a 1099 paid to yourself from your own LLC. There's tons of ways to get around it. That's why I say, let's talk through it and see what you got going on. And then kind of go from there.
So in that case, let me ask you a follow-up question on that. So in that case, your LLC has to be set up as an S corp if you're doing 1099.
I think that helps. Yeah, I do believe you can still pay yourself a 1099 even if you have a pass-through LLC, because you're considered a contractor to the business. But I'm not a CPA, so I don't want to give accounting advice directly.
So I have another question for Ravi. He wants to know if you have more than 50 employees, can we do it? Or we cannot do it?
Yeah, we could talk through it. It just depends. I mean, if you have 1,000, no. But if you have a few more than 50, we can just talk through it.
So David, last year there was the ability to pull hardship money out of your 401k. Has that expired?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the CARES Act. The CARES Act expired. Some things were carried over into 2021, but that piece, the 401k piece, was not.
So how long you were able to pull it for? Like a couple of years? When you have to pay it back?
So you had to pull it between March and December of last year.
Right.
and then you have 3 years to pay it back, or you could take could have taken a distribution out of your 401k and put that into a different retirement account.
You still have to pay the taxes on it, but you would not have to pay the penalty. Was that correct?
That's if you keep it out of a retirement plan for 3 years, for more than 3 years, yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
It was very informative session, David. I really appreciate that. How do people reach out to you? Because I think our audience is so engaged with you, and I'm pretty sure they will love to reach out to you to get more information.
Yeah, the best way to reach me is my email. It's david@eqrp.co.
So I have one last question, David. So you had mentioned that you could contribute up to $58,000. Is that a pure $58,000, or is that tied to some of the profits, or is the $58,000 potentially even higher?
So 58 could go up to 64.5 if you're over 50. But the 50, so how you contribute to a 401k plan, 2 ways. This 401k plan is 2 ways. One would be a payroll deferral. So if you're paying yourself a W-2, just like you got at work, you can defer part of your paycheck into the plan, up to $19,500. And if you're over 50, that actually goes to $26,000, because that's where the $6,500 additional is. And then there's profit sharing contribution. Profit sharing contribution is 25% of your payroll. And if it's a pass-through entity and all the income comes to you, all of the money is your payroll. Okay, so you can take 19.5 directly out of that and then contribute 25% of the remaining business income. If you do have an go ahead.
So from a strategy standpoint, even if you have a company that's not necessarily producing widgets and has a profit from those widgets, you could roll through or pass through income you pay yourself, and that could then potentially get you up to the 58,000.
Yep.
So
There's lots of ways to get there, and we talk through accounting strategies to then further vet with CPAs, but we kind of know how to get there. We just ask that people vet it with their CPA before they execute.
Fantastic information. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. It's been a pleasure.